Hello, this is the Tradesight U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Wednesday, the 12th of April, 2017. Again, a short week. Friday, we're going to be closed. We'll still do a market preview tomorrow night for Thursday, so let's just focus here on Wednesday. Markets did sell off early, but came back, and so once again, almost a flat close, down 3 for the day on the S&P. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract, daily chart of the broad market. Almost nothing's changed. Been here for 3 weeks now. Rich pointed out the 1248 area was kind of a magnet, and when you look at the intraday action here, it's hard to disagree with that. Let's go through some of the major daily charts, and then we'll take a look at the intraday action, see what we've got for economic data left. Crude oil, 53.22, up 15 cents, back towards the highs. Gold up $20.90. That's a new closing high for the year, and the highest close since back in November, basically, on gold. S&P cash index, like I said, down 3.38. Kind of a blip in the end. It was lower, though, earlier on in the day. NASDAQ 100 down 23. Again, the 13 sell signal there starting to come into play. That signal is perfectly set up at this point, right? We got the signal. We tested the risk line, which is the pink line. Couldn't get a close above it. Now we're starting to roll over. You know, you'd like to see it turn into something. I'll move back to that red static trend line, perhaps. Today was maybe looked like the beginning of it, but we recovered some, only down 23 points. Stocks down 8. That did hit a static trend line, but that's a narrow range there. Biotechs, remember, this had the 13 sell signal back at the beginning of March, and it's swept new lows today, down 11.92 on the close. The VIX rising. I pointed out it did this yesterday. This is the highest point the VIX has been on so far this year. Maybe that explains it. We've had some good stock trades, some nice movers in the last couple of days, even though volume has been light. So the VIX up is good for us. We'd like to see that back above 15, and we're just getting there. So even if, hopefully you get some good volatility in general once you get the VIX back up a bit. So that's a real positive sign for us as traders, even if the volume hasn't been stellar. TRIN 1.21. By the way, the volume will pick up if this does start to turn into a move to the downside. TRIN 1.21, another high reading. 10-day moving average now 1.31. NASDAQ volume only 1.65 billion. Obviously better than the horrible reading we got on Monday, but it's nothing spectacular yet. Advanced decline ratio, this is interesting. It was negative early on. It recovered a bit. Then the market rolled, but it's still closed positive on the NASDAQ, plus 372 stocks. That means 372 more stocks closed up than down for the day. On the New York, plus 707. It's real interesting when you consider that we've closed negative on all the major indices. Google down $1.82, and most of the headline stocks were down. That's why the indices were down. Apple down $1.54. Remember, Google had the sell signal. Go back to Google here real quick. It had the sell signal right at the top. Boom. Perfectly timed. Amazon down $4.68. Netflix up 50 cents, but under a 13 sell signal there still. Tesla down $3.68. TLT 122.42. That's almost a new closing high for the year since January 1st. It might even be. On the 20-year bond ETF, Goldman Sachs down $1.15. Dow Jones down 6, which is obviously a blip on the Dow. All right, let's take a look at the intraday action. We'll look at the ES, the broad market first. There it is. So this is 5-minute candles for the day. You can see we opened with a very tiny gap down. We had one candle that tried to head back up. That didn't fill the gap. We never filled the gap. And then we pushed lower for the next 90 minutes. And that was the range for the day. We spent lunchtime recovering a bit, then went dead flat. And the last 20 minutes of the day, we pushed up 3 points. That was about it. NASDAQ side down 20, pretty much the same math, although it was more glued to the VWAP midpoint area for most of the session. So nothing exciting there on the NASDAQ. All right, so what do we have left this week that we can talk about? There is a couple of data points on Wednesday to discuss. We've got mortgage index at 7 a.m. Eastern time, import-export prices at 8:30, crude oil inventories at 10:30, Treasury budget at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So none of that's big stuff. We've got much more numbers on Thursday, so we'll discuss that ahead of the Thursday, tomorrow night's preview. Friday, stock market's closed for Good Friday, but they're still going to release CPI and some other stuff. So there's data that we can't trade off of. Always weird. They can't get these holidays lined up where it's bank holidays, no economic data, and stock market holidays. There's like 3 or 4 of them a year where something's open when the other one's not. And Good Friday is one of them. makes for an awkward week. And of course, people will start to head out early on Thursday because we're closed Friday. So hopefully, if there's anything left to get done for reals, it'll probably be on Wednesday. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading Wednesday.